And the last group of the Euros 2024 is Group F, consisting of Portugal, Turkey, Georgia, and Czech Republic. I actually want to start directly with Portugal right here, coached by Roberto Martinez and ranked number 6 in FIFA's rankings. Looking at Europe specifically, I think the top 2 squads clearly are England and France. Is Portugal squad number 3, man?
Yeah. They're stacked.
No
bro.
question?
They're stacked. And what's crazy, no question. What's crazy is I feel like we say the same thing about Portugal every single tournament. One, this team is better than it's ever been before. And 2, can they actually play together and go far in a tournament, though? It's just we ask the same types of questions. But, I mean, when you look at the squad, you'd hope that this team goes to the semifinals. You'd hope that this team could make a finals. But they pretty much underwhelm every single time. So. And the one time that they didn't have that much expectation, they won it in 2016.
Yeah. That's actually pretty insane. And considering the way that they won it, it was nuts, man. Yeah. With Ronaldo going off in those knockout stages and then Eder scoring the game-winning goal for them against a mighty French team that was hosting the tournament at the time. Ridiculous. What a massive achievement. But I agree. That's my frustration ultimately with this Portuguese team is that I think they deserve more trophies. They deserve more silverware with the talent that they have. They should have more silverware with the talent that they have, but they don't. Ultimately, going out to Morocco in the quarterfinals of the 2022 FIFA World Cup, I mean, people were calling that a choke job, looking at the expectations that were had for them and this team. And ultimately, I agree, man, because I want so much more for this team. And I think the Portuguese fans want that too. And it's why they ultimately ended up shifting coaches, getting rid of Fernando Santos and hiring Belgium's very own Roberto Martinez to lead this team. And so far, so good, man. Honestly, looking at the results, they topped the Euros qualification group with 30 points out of 30 available points, 10 victories, 36 goals for, 2 goals against. Players like Diogo Costa, Diego Dalot, Joao Cancelo, Ruben Diaz, Bruno Fernandes, Palhinha, Vitinha, Bernardo Silva. CR7 is back, and this will definitely be his last Euros tournament.
It has to be.
Diogo Jota, Rafael Leao. I mean, this team should at the very least be making semis, man.
Oh, yeah. At the very least. You already said that they had a perfect record in qualifying, like truly perfect. Every single match was a win for Portugal. But they're the 8th team ever to actually have a perfect qualification. So they actually put themselves in high status by doing this achievement. But not only that, yes, they only conceded 2 goals, 9 clean sheets. 9. It was only 1 game that they actually conceded.
Good Lord.
It's insane.
Good Lord.
They've been absolutely dominant. And I think the first person I want to mention here is actually Roberto Martinez, because unfortunately he had a really sour ending with Belgium, right? And ultimately he got a lot of shtick for Belgium's shortcomings. But I think it was just the end of the road for Martinez in Belgium is ultimately what it was. If a manager stays around too long at any team, this kind of is usually what happens. So I'm not even going to really look at the criticism from Martinez. Yeah, he could have maybe done a little bit more with Belgium, but I think making the semifinals appearance, always being competitive during his tenure is enough for me, in my opinion. And when you look at the coach that Portugal had before Martinez and Fernando Santos, man, I mean, Santos was notorious for being a defensive-minded coach and rarely adapted his 11 and was always resistant to play attacking football. Whereas Martinez, he may not be the most offensive-minded manager or the most tactical, but he's an upgrade from Fernando Santos, at least from an offensive perspective. And I think it really shows with this Portuguese side right now, because when you look at them, they are playing really free-flowing football. There's actually a lot more rotation going on in the midfield and in the offensive line. Realistically, like, I think only Rafael Leao, Bernardo Silva, and Bruno Fernandes have their spots secured. The other 3 positions around those 3 guys truly, honestly, is wide open. I guess you'll say Ronaldo will start as the number 9, but well, we need to have a conversation about Ronaldo alone, honestly. And honestly, let's have it right now, bro, because CR7, what's his role at this tournament?
I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know, because the way that he was utilized at the 2022 World Cup, he came off the bench in their most important game. And that blows my mind, not in the sense of that being a wrong decision, but just in the sense of what a conundrum you have here with such a storied character. It's just not comparable to any other situation in world football, because you have one of the GOATs of the sport, one of the greatest players to ever grace the pitch, still on your team, still trying to vie for a spot in that starting position, and just now breaking the Saudi Arabian goal scoring record just a few days ago, man. So if you look at him as just a singular player individually beyond his history, I mean, you do have to call him up. The way he's going off for Al Nassr right now, the amount of goals, the quality that he's in tip-top form, still at a tender age of 38 years old. He's still that guy, but I don't know, man. I don't know if that's the guy you can hinge your hopes on once again, given that he's not the same player he was in his prime, and there are other players that are trying to compete for his position as well. It's a conundrum, bro, and I honestly don't know what to do here. I'm interested to see, more than anything, how Roberto Martinez handles it, because Santos got criticized for how he handled it, and he had to make some really tough decisions. Does Martinez just instill that full faith on Ronaldo, and is he willing to die with Ronaldo ultimately at the top?
Dude, yeah, this is a conundrum. Not only was he the top goal scorer in Saudi Arabia this year, right, but also in historic fashion, he was Portugal's top goal scorer in the qualifying campaign. I mean, so it's just like, you look at the numbers, he has to start in this first match. If I'm Martinez, here's how I would approach it.
Okay.
I would start Ronaldo in the number 9 position. And if it looks like it's not working, or I bring on another player, I sub him out in the 60th minute, and it ends up being more free-flowing, then I bench Ronaldo for the rest of the tournament. And I know that sounds crazy, but just considering that if you really want to win titles, it's not about one player, it's about the team. If it makes more sense to have Ronaldo come off the bench than it is for him to start the match, then you have to have the balls to make that decision. You have to. The thing is, I'm still kind of stuck on, do I start Ronaldo on the bench or do I start him? I'm only starting him because of the numbers, but when you've seen Ronaldo play, there's a lot of good, but there's also a lot of bad, right? For Portugal. The good is he's still an excellent finisher. He is in tip-top shape. He's still an avid runner, and the IQ is ridiculous. Like, he makes the smartest runs in football. There's no question about that. But for me, the bad is there's a lot of selfish moments now with Ronaldo. There's a lot of moments where he gets the ball out on the wing, and there's a wide open Fernandes. There's a wide open Leao. There's a wide open Bernardo Silva. And those players have the know-how either to give it back to Ronaldo or score the goal themselves or find another player wide open. We're talking about some of the world's best midfielders that Ronaldo plays with. I just think Ronaldo doesn't use them as much as he should. And the question is there another Portuguese player in that position that would use those midfielders? If there is, then that player has to play over Ronaldo. But if there's not, then yeah, definitely play Ronaldo.
Thing is, I don't think there is, man. Is Gonzalo Ramos the guy? Man, I don't think so.
I know.
I think he's honestly disappointed since his performance at the 2022 FIFA World Cup. Yeah. Got bought out from, or at least went on loan, I'm not sure, to PSG. And I think he got like 11 or 13 goals this season, and didn't routinely start for the team either. Had some good moments for Benfica, but that's Portuguese league tax, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's good enough to just steal the job from Ronaldo permanently. And it's just such a crazy situation, because in what other team is benching a 38-year-old controversial?
Dude, yeah.
It's nuts, man. That part blows my mind.
It is crazy.
But I think just with everything that we know about Ronaldo, everything that he is, ultimately the biggest thing that I think plays a role here is, how does Roberto Martinez communicate with Ronaldo? Can he will him to be a little less selfish offensively and to be more open-minded when it comes to that final third? If he can, then I think you have to start Ronaldo all the way, because he does still have the capabilities of carrying your offensive workload and just having really brilliant moments. And especially given that it's his last Euros, I think you really will take it upon himself to deliver on the biggest stage once again.
That's a great point. And also, when you look at Ronaldo at club level for Al Nassr, he is the focal point for their offense. Every time Al Nassr get the ball, it really is find Ronaldo. And it's a great formula because, I mean, it works every single time. And the thing is that I actually think it hurts Ronaldo's international performances because he's so used to being the guy at Al Nassr. So I just wonder if when he tries to translate his play from Al Nassr to the international scene, is that translation clean? I don't know. And I know it sounds like I'm just bashing one of the greatest players of all time, and I don't want it to really come off as that as the conclusion. I'm just saying, if there is a better player to play, Martinez has to make that decision. Because if there is, then that will be Portugal's keys to success. The last thing I want to hear, bro, is Ronaldo shouldn't have got as much playing time and Portugal could have gone to the final. I don't want to hear that excuse. If Ronaldo plays every single game, fine. He will score. He's one of the best at it. But if there's any criticism towards him because he's seeing too much of the field, then I do not want to hear it. It's up to Martinez to be able to decide that. So I just don't want any excuses, which is why I'm trying to lay it out right here.
But can't exceptions be made for the greats? Like, I feel like we see that happen all the time, man. Like, it's just part of it. You live and die by this guy, and you lived by him in 2016, and he got you that trophy. Now, as a thank you, you see his career out for Portugal, starting him every match and having that excuse at the end of the day. But it is, reminiscent of the team and how they relied upon him for so many years, and he delivered. You live or die by the heroes that you have, and ultimately, I think that's what this is.
Definitely. But I will say, and I know it's not the exact same, but when Sweden were trying to qualify for the World Cup in 2018, they stopped calling up Zlatan. And what happened? They actually qualified and honestly had a great tournament. And the moment they stopped calling Zlatan Ibrahimovic one of the best, it was actually Sweden's best years. I'm not saying it's the same as Ronaldo, especially since Ronaldo's still performing at such a high level. But what I am saying is I don't want to hear it. If Ronaldo plays and people criticize him, I'm not going to listen to it because it's up to Martinez to be like, all right, I have 10 of the best attackers in the world. If he thinks Ronaldo's a part of that, play him. If he doesn't, don't play him. I don't want any excuses.
I guess I disagree. I think all the players will also buy into it too. They're all just as thankful to Ronaldo for what he's done.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so.
I see a lot of comments in the Portuguese section saying like, I love Ronaldo, but give this new generation a chance.
For sure. I'm saying the players themselves. I think they see Ronaldo as just such an icon of the country that they're going to be pro Ronaldo no matter what. And especially the mentality he provides to the team, the energy. And ultimately, Zlatan is Zlatan. He ain't Ronaldo.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna be straight up with you. He ain't Ronaldo.
But he's the same impact for Sweden, right? Sweden never had a star.
For sure. But I think Ronaldo is just one of two top players we've ever seen all time.
All time.
So I think that's why I differentiate that. But ultimately, I do want to highlight the rest of the team. Because we've touched on the Ronaldo topic, and I'd love to know where the people stand on this. Are you with Soltero on this? Or are you with me in the sense of Ronaldo's role for this team and how you foresee it happening at this tournament? But as for the rest of the team, I'm in love. I'm in love.
Yeah.
I'm in love, bro, because we talk so highly about England and how they have such a deep squad, but not just that. So many other players are in form. I think Portugal is actually very, very similar. Mm-hmm. One thing that I noticed off the bat is that in every sector of the pitch, they have a young rising star who just had a really good season. Let me go through them. At goalkeeper, Diego Costa, 24 years old now, had another really good for FC Porto. I could see him making a big offseason move to a bigger club, whether it's in the Prem or La Liga. I think his time will come very soon because he just had another really good year. In the defensive positions, I have three guys that stood out for Portugal this year. Diego Dalot was voted Manchester United's best player of the season. I think he definitely improved his play overall. Nuno Mendes has been incredible for PSG, also so young, also improving. And then Gonçalo Inácio, who just won the Portuguese title with Sporting CP, might actually have an argument for starting right alongside Ruben Diaz in that back line or alongside Dani Pereira. He might have an argument because of the way that he's played so far, and I think he's only like 20 years old. So he had another really good year. In the midfield, the one and only Vitinha.
Yeah.
What a season, bro. I loved everything I saw from him. I put that pressure on him early on in the year as to carrying PSG's workload after offloading Verratti and really becoming the main man in their midfield. And this dude stepped up every single match. He had such big moments in the Champions League and in the league specifically. He's the next great Portuguese midfielder, in my opinion. I'm excited to see his inclusion into the squad. And you mentioned three Portuguese players who should be in the starting 11 right off the bat. I think Vitinha has to be that fourth player that should be in the immediate starting player for this team. What a season. And then up top, Rafael Leao with a 15-goal, 12 assists for AC Milan this season. And Pedro Neto having his best year for Wolves, getting 10 assists as well. Jeez. These guys are all, I believe, under 25 years old, and they all had really good seasons. And I think that's really good to kind of fill out the holes of this team now, because sometimes you have young players that might not be ready for the moment, are still kind of rising, still working to prominence. But I think all these guys have really grown into their roles at their club teams and are not prepared for the big stage of the international scene.
This Portuguese squad is so fun to piece together because, like you said, when you look at every single player, they're in such good form. Question I have for you and maybe for the audience as well is, who is going to be that third midfielder? If we say Fernandes is the attack, Vitinha is kind of just the all-around midfielder, who's going to be that third guy?
Palhinha.
It definitely could be Palhinha as the box-to-box, more defensive-minded. But I wonder, because Martinez has not found, or maybe more so, he has not decided to show who his two starting pivots are behind Fernandes. He's rotated them out in every single game. Obviously, he has that luxury because this Portuguese squad is so stacked. But I mean, you could go with maybe more free-flowing Otavio if you need that offensive option. You could go with Ruben Neves, who is still playing at an incredibly high level. There's so much that you could do and rotate in with that Portuguese midfield. And then up top, too, think the players that they can bring off the bench are still in really good form too. Besides Silva and Rafael Leao, for example, João Felix, coming off probably his happiest season of his footballing career. And honestly, I think a more happy, free-flowing Felix is actually really good for this Portuguese side, because if Silva, needs some rest, you can bring on Felix and he can bring that same trickery, the same directness that Silva has, and you don't lose that much by starting a player like Felix. So I just think that Portugal have so many different options in the midfield and in the offensive line, and they're all in such good form.
They have to make semis. I have them. They have to make semis. That's my expectation for them. Anything less, I think, is a disappointment for the level of quality in this team. Get to the semifinals, and from there, who knows what happens. Get a final appearance and maybe lift the Euros once again. CR7 goes out on top. That's what I want to see for this Portuguese squad. I do think they're going to be one of the more fun teams to watch in this tournament, and I'm excited to see what Portugal can do at the Euros.
I'm applying the same pressure that I'm applying to England and France for this Portuguese side. Has to go semis. The squad is simply too stacked. Everyone's in such good form. I actually believe in this Portuguese side. When you look at the way they've been playing over the last 12 months, it's super promising, more so than I've seen and going into other tournaments for Portugal. Give me a semifinals appearance for this side.
They are in a group with Georgia, Turkey, and Czech Republic. Let's actually talk about Georgia.
Talk about
Georgia, man. Coached by Willy Sagnol, the Frenchman, ranked number 75. But here's the beautiful thing, man. Georgia is making their debut at the Euros. So congratulations to them.
Beautiful, dude. I love this.
Beautiful achievement, man, with guys like Marmar. Here we go. The names. Please excuse the names, man. I am a Mexican man trying to pronounce Georgian names. Here we go. Marmardashvili, the goalkeeper from Valencia. Kiteshvili, Kokarashvili. And then the biggest name for me, Kivicha Carvalhaskelia. I can say that one easily. Cavaradona, 11 goals and 6 assists for Serie A side Napoli this year, playing incredible wing football. I think this Georgian team is going to have a really rough time here, bro. I think they're going to have a really rough time at this tournament. But the thing is, it's not about that. It's not about this tournament, and it's not about the 2026 FIFA World Cup either, because I don't think they're working towards that. For Georgia, it's about the next 10 years, bro. It's about setting the blueprint for success at the international, and you can even say domestic level for them, so that they can see the sport grow in their country. Because what I'm seeing after doing my research is that there's a lot of love and passion for the sport in Georgia, bro. Dude. A lot. And they're really eager to get the ball rolling over there and to really start investing in their infrastructure and growing the sport in Georgia. So that's what I think Georgia qualifying for the Euros represents, is more so what they're trying to do at the local level, bro. Just trying to grow the sport in their country. And I think that's a beautiful story.
It was absolute scenes in Tbilisi, the capital of Georgia, when Georgia beat Greece on penalties to qualify for this tournament, man. Truly, it actually brought a tear to my eye when I watched that game, because there was so much passion out on that pitch. You already said it. The fans of football in Georgia are one of the most passionate out there. There's no difference between a Georgian fan and an English fan when it comes to football, man. Yeah. And the fact that this was basically a final for Georgia when they played Greece in their home country in front of a sellout crowd. I was just like, God damn it, like anything's possible in football, man. And UEFA, FIFA, they've built a beautiful structure with this game, bro. They truly have, because if I'm born in Georgia and I get an opportunity like that for my country to qualify for a major tournament, I'm blessed, man.
Yeah.
I'm blessed. So shout out to the country of Georgia, to the players, to the people. I hope they have a good tournament. And the thing is, I do think they have some players that can create some havoc, that can play some serious ball, bro. To kind of re-highlight those players, Mamardashvili is actually fantastic at Valencia. He is the starting goalkeeper in La Liga. I think that's huge. To have a guy who's so experienced at the back, commanding the back line, that's brilliant. You go to the midfield, you have Kochorashvili, who, if you know anything about Levante midfielders, they have a little bit of filth to them, and you see that when he's on the pitch. He always goes for the meg, always goes for the dirty play, and I love that when players just say, you know, fuck it, I'm going to entertain rather than just play football. But beyond Kochorashvili, they have a really good energy. Maybe not the best talent, but every single player for Georgia gives absolutely everything, and I don't think they're going to miss this opportunity. They know they might not ever make it here again, or if they do, it might be a while. So I think for Georgia, this is an aspect of, all right, let's just give our best here. Let's look for not even the near future, but let's just establish something beautiful here. And if we qualify for the World Cup, great, we're improving. If we don't, all right, let's just keep working, because there's so many cool players that Georgia have. Kiteshvili as well, who did the impossible with Sturm Graz and actually won the Austrian Bundesliga over the mighty Salzburg, ending a 10-year run in Austria for them. That was really cool for Kiteshvili, and he was a big aspect, big creator for them in that midfield. Ziv Zivadze is a really good worker up top, and then of course Kvaratskhelia, right? One of the better Georgian players, maybe the best all time. Incredible dribble driver, if there ever was one. So I love the energy when those Georgian players get on the ball. Obviously, the quality's not as high, but hey, man, at least they try. At least they try to play really good progressive football, and they don't just park the bus. That's why I really like Georgia. They're not afraid. They might get killed here. They might not, though. I honestly don't know. It's hard to tell. I will say that UEFA threw them a bone to get in here, bro. They were behind Spain, Scotland, and Norway. They were in fourth
place.
Yeah, so like, definitely lucky to be here, but hey, you know.
I don't think they're going to be complaining about that.
I don't think they're going to be complaining, bro. Man. So I'm really excited just to even watch Georgia play. And another little fun fact is, there's been a debut team at every single Euros since the Euros started back in 1960.
Gosh, really?
So they continue that trend by Georgia getting here.
Wow. Amazing job by the Georgians to get into this tournament. Congratulations to them. Here's the biggest question that I will pose to the audience and to you. Do they finish in third or fourth?
Let's just end on a good note, man.
We can answer it later. Brother, it's fourth.
Probably fourth.
It's fourth, man.
It's probably fourth.
It's fourth. They got fourth.
But maybe if they can beat Czechia, right? Maybe third. Maybe. Albania got a really surprise third place result when they qualified in 2016. I think Georgia have it in them to do it. It's going to be difficult, though, for sure.
I think I have just as many questions about Czech Republic as I do of Georgia. So I actually think those two are really interchangeable, if I'm being honest.
I agree.
So let's talk about it.
Let's talk about Czech
Republic, coached by Ivan Hasic, ranked number 36 in FIFA's rankings, and they finished in the Euros qualifying in second place above Poland and under Albania, failing to beat Albania twice. And we've spoken about Albania's level, giving them credit, but ultimately we predicted they would get fourth place in their respective group. This team lost to them twice. This team has Thomas Souček from West Ham, Kufal from West Ham as well. Adam Hlosic, I can't say this one. Hlosic from Bayer Leverkusen, Dudera, Thomas Holz, David Zima, Lucas Provod, Patrick Schick from Bayer Leverkusen as well. They have some names. I think more notable names than I would say than Georgia, if I'm being honest, when it comes to the amount of players that they have. This is their 7th consecutive Euros. They've reached the quarters in 2020, which is super, super notable. But honestly, for me, I don't really know this team. I don't really know this team. This is one of those teams that I'm excited to see once the tournament starts, to see how they perform in all three matches to really get a gauge of how good they are, because I know the players, but as a team, I can't really get a gauge based off the results, based off the research. I just can't really get a good sense of what Czech Republic team will show up at the Euros this time around. So I'm asking you, what do you know about Czech Republic to inform me, to maybe help me decide whether they get third or fourth ultimately in this group?
Well, dude, I think your uncertainty is actually shared by the entire Czechia country.
Well, that doesn't help, bro.
It doesn't help.
That doesn't help at all.
Because they had such a frustrating qualifying campaign, because they had Poland and Albania in it. And you look at the players that Czechia have, they should have topped this group, bro. And it was so bad from the frustration was so loud from the people of Czechia that the coach actually stepped down after they qualified. He couldn't take the criticism. He actually tweeted or said in a conference after their last match, he was like, I don't understand the criticism, but there's nothing I can do. We qualify for another Euros, but I'm stepping down. I can't do this anymore. Wow. It was that bad. People were just frustrated with the way they're playing. They weren't getting the results that they expected from the squad because, I mean, dude, you look at it, you already named some of them. Lukáš Provo, Černý, Dodera, the West Ham, Soufal Souček. This is top quality. Patrick Schick was the top goal scorer 3 years ago in the Euros, by the way. So you take that all into account to finish under Albania, no disrespect, it's not good, man. Yeah. So I think this Czechia team's a little lost. Their coach has only had 2 games under his belt with this squad. Okay. And so I think uncertainty is the way you should be feeling about this Czechia team. There's no real way to know if they show up or not. The quality is there, but to play Portugal, that'll be interesting. And it's why I kind of give Georgia somewhat of a chance to take advantage of this confused Czechia side.
I can see that. Now I can see that. That makes sense to me now, man. It's there.
It's there. But overall, I'll say Czechia finish in third, Georgia fourth. I'll still finish it that way, but hey, that Georgia Czechia game I think is gonna be really interesting.
That's how I have it. All right, then moving on over to the last team to preview of this Euros. It's Turkey, baby. Turkey, coached by Vincenzo Montella, ranked number 40 in the FIFA World Rankings. They topped their group with Croatia and Wales involved. In the past 2 years, they have had matches where they defeated Scotland, where they defeated Germany, Croatia, and Wales. But then it gets kind of confusing for me because they've also gone on to lose against Austria, Hungary, Japan in a friendly, and then Croatia too. The names are really solid, though. They got a midfield of Arda Güler, Çalhanoğlu, and Kokshu, which I think is really, really good and definitely their strong point. Yeah. And then they have other players like Demiral. They have another Yilmaz going through the ranks that is going to step up for them offensively. Yeah. And I think this team is really interesting because domestically, the Turkish league continues to grow. I'm seeing good football come out of there. And I think Arda Güler, for example, really represents where the game is going for the Turkish folks because you got a Turkish man lifting the UEFA Champions League trophy for the first time in Turkey's history. Oh shit! Yeah, after Real Madrid last won it. Obviously, he didn't play a single minute of UEFA Champions League football, but still, he was part of the team because there's so much talent to be had there for Arda Güler. So I thought that was really impressive. And Fenerbahce, Galatasaray have been great, I think, recently. Fenerbahce getting Jose Mourinho to come join them as well. Oh yeah, Turkey is just they're on a bit of a rise, or they're trying to make a name for themselves even greater than what it already is in the scene of football. So this Turkish team, I think, really represents that because they've done really well so far. I get a little confused. I get a little confused after seeing the results, how they win some really good matches and then they end up losing some matches where I really thought that they could have gotten a result out of it. That's the only confusing part for me when it comes to Turkey because they're trying to do something special here. I just don't know if I can buy in fully.
Dude, I agree. Copy and paste my concerns with Romania and you'll get my take on Turkey. They had such a good qualifying campaign this time out. They played some really good football in their biggest moments. And they do have some talent, man. I mean, I'll add in a player, Akturgulu, for Galatasaray, 12 goals, 6 assists this season. He's been fantastic. And in the Champions League, at his best, he was so direct, being able to take players one-on-one. It's a talent that a lot of wingers at this tournament don't have. Akturgulu has that. You add in the creative midfield of, Çalhanoğlu, and then, of course, the other players, the youngster Arda Güler, and then Boris Alper Yilmaz. There's some really good talent that is young, too, for this Turkish side. But I just don't know if I can buy into it either. I really don't. And the reason why I bring up these concerns is because 3 years ago, they qualified in style for the Euros. And they were in such good form that I even labeled them as dark horses. And I think a lot of people did too.
Yeah.
And you know what they did, dude? At the tournament, they laid a fucking egg, bro. It was bad. They conceded 8 goals and they only scored 1 at the Euros. They only played 3 games, bro. They only played 3 games and they conceded 8 goals. God. They were atrociously bad. And the same thing could happen like here. Maybe not as bad, but it just is another case that does qualifying mean anything for non-established teams? It's tough, man. It's really tough to tell. I will say I do think this Turkish side is better than they were 3 years ago because I think they're more established in their roles. I think the players are more determined to win just because I think the Turkish side that they relied on 3 years ago had a lot more veterans trying to take over the team. Now it really is just this is a new generation of Turkish players. They have a name to make for themselves, and I think they believe in the ideas that Montella is trying to employ for this team. So I do think Turkey will have a better time out. Considering the group they're in, I do think they can get out though. I think they can get out, but for me, I think overall, I don't know if I can say higher than round of 16 for this Turkish side.
I was thinking about this, bro. I don't think there's a team more clear in the entire Euros that has round of 16 written all over it, man. I think the gap between Turkey, Czech Republic, and Georgia is very clear. I think they have second place in the bag.
Yeah.
They're not going to defeat Portugal. I think that's pretty certain. So they'll get second place. They're going to go to the round of 16, and they're going to lose in that phase of the tournament. I am so sure of that I will put a bet on it. I'll say if Turkey gets past the round of 16, I'll go to Turkey and get a fucking hair transplant.
Whoa.
No,
Take that back, bro. You know what the internet can do, man.
That's how sure I am, bro. I'm that certain that they're going to get out in the round of 16. They're going to have bad luck with a bad drawing in that round, and it's going to end for them right there. I'm not rooting for their demise here. If anything, this is an improvement after what happened at the Euros 2020. I just think that this team has a limitation on it, and I think that limitation is round of 16.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they actually undo how poor they were 3 years ago. And maybe they can show something brilliant in the round of 16 and qualify for a nice quarters, and then it ends there. That would be amazing for Turkey. And then they can build off of that. Qualify themselves for a World Cup. Do better in 4 years' time at the Euros. Build off of this new generation of Turkish players. I think this is a really good starting point for Turkey. But yeah, I just think they have definite limitations that will most likely end in a round of 16.
I just wonder what their best version looks like, because I know there's going to be Turkish fans out there that are like, nah, you don't believe in this team.
I know.
I'm like, well, what is the best version of Turkey? Is it a quarterfinal appearance? Is it going as far as semis? I don't know if I see that for them this year, man. I don't, but I would love I would love to be proven wrong. I really, really would. So to round out Group F, we actually have the same predictions on this one. Portugal first, Turkey second, Czech Republic third, Georgia fourth. If you disagree or agree with us, let us know in the comments right now, because we're interested to hear all your takes and everything you have regarding the Euros 2024. That finalizes our roundup so far. What an incredible roundup it has been. Previewing and predicting these 6 groups in the Euros. And folks, it does not stop here. We will have live streams. We will have so much content, shorts, anything you want regarding the Euros, OFC Nations Cup, and Copa America. A lot of football talk is coming in the next month. So subscribe and stay in touch with us, because it's about to get wild. Here we go. Euros 2024, baby. I can't wait.